Hello, everybody. Welcome to the YNTAAY Minis. I'm Chris Smith, and today we're going to talk about the Cher Show, which I just saw in beautiful New York, New York, at the Neil Simon Theater. I flew all the way there in part to see the Cher Show. And here it is, my ticket. I went on August 1st, 2019. And yes, let's talk about it, shall we? Okay, so I've had this beautiful Cher poster of the Cher Show hanging in my house since it was released. And I almost flew to Chicago when it was playing last summer in 2018 because I really wanted to see this show bad. And I thought, well, Chicago's pretty close to LA. But I ended up not going to Chicago because I thought, well, I'll just go for my early birthday in 2019 and see it. And then I decided not to go, and then because the cast of The Prom wasn't going to be the cast that was going into the movie, I said, well, I have to see The Prom on Broadway, and I have to see the Cher Show. When they announced their closing on August 18th, I said, I have to go. Now, one of my favorite things is the marketing of the Cher Show. I think the logo is amazing, and look at these magnets that I bought. Now, my friend Jameson brought me a magnet, and my friend Kippy got me the set of 4. You all know Kippy. He co-created this show. So I had 2 of these, and I said, this is perfect, because I put the 3 shares in the middle, and then the 2 share regular thingies on the ends. And I just think it looks gorgeous that way. Oh, this is my refrigerator of magnets, everybody. And if you ever visit me, don't think that you can take one from the refrigerator, because if I see that one is missing, I know immediately and I go wild. So yes, the Cher Show was the first show that I saw when I was when I flew to New York, and I did the red eye. So then we were going around all day long on the Thursday, and then the Cher Show was that night at 7 o'clock. So yes, I was a little jet lagged. So the first act, it was a little difficult to try to stay awake, and I did stay awake because I told my friend Rhonda, nudge me gently if you see my head start to bob. And the first act was sort of like a fever dream. I mean, I was really excited to be there. It was like a party environment. The Cher Show is a crazy show. It's sort of, you've got the 3 shares, and they're divided up in the cast. You've got Stephanie J. Block, they're all playing Cher. She's playing Star. Till Wicks is playing Lady, and Tori Trowbridge, is that correct? This says that she's playing Babe. Maybe at that performance she was, because it's normally Michaela Diamond. I'm just now realizing, did we not even have Michaela Diamond? This is how out of it I was. But look, I did buy this beautiful program, and I should do a little bit of bookkeeping besides the 3 playing Cher, who were all wonderful, mind you. I'm not a big fan of 3 adult people playing the same character. Stephanie J. Block won the Tony, and deservedly so, for Best Actress. Wonderful performance. Everybody was wonderful. So was Till Wicks and Michaela or Tori Trowbridge. I wish I could go back in time and then see the thing in the lobby to see if it was her playing, because this little thing is in the program, so I'm going to investigate this further. But yeah, I'm not a fan of 3 people playing the same character. They do this also in Summer, the Donna Summer musical, which I think I'm seeing in LA in October, I think is when it's playing at the Pantages Theater. But so the book is by Rick Ellis. Is it Ellis or Elise? Well, Ellis. We'll say Ellis. Um, and yeah, I'm a big fan of his. He did Jersey Boys, and not so much a big fan of the way the Cher Show was structured. But yeah, I mean, it was very funny. It was very was very well done. The choreography is by Christopher Gattelli, who I'm a big fan of, directed by Jason Moore, big fan. Um, yeah, there was something missing for me. And um, mind you, I enjoyed the show. Look at me, how hard I am trying not to say anything bad. Loved Sonny and Cher when I was a little child. Loved those little round Sonny and Cher symbols that were in the background. There they are again. And they had all that in the show. Now, here's one of the strange things. And I know that Cher worked very closely with Rick and the company when they, were putting the show together. There was something very protective about getting into Cher's life. I mean, they let us in a lot, but for example, now you all know that Sonny and Cher had the child Chastity, and then later on she came out as a lesbian, and then it turned out that she was trans, and she became Chaz Bono. And they only called the child Chaz in the show. You don't see the child at all. And I'm like, well, maybe that was a nickname. Maybe they called Chastity Chaz when Chastity was Chastity. But I mean, there's nothing in the show about Chastity coming out as a lesbian or, going through the whole transition. And it's like I would have loved to have known how did Cher react to that, even just a scene, just a mention, but nothing. And I know that I've read that they said that's not their story to tell, that's Chaz's story, and that's true, but it is Cher's story too. So you could feel that something was being held back, and it was rather, there were some sketchy things. I mean, it's like sketches almost, sort of like you would do with a variety show, like the Sonny and Cher show, or what have you. Like the mother character played by Emily Skinner, who's wonderful. Big fan of Emily Skinner. And I always have a curse when it comes to Emily Skinner, because I went to see Sideshow in 1997 on New Year's Eve, and Emily Skinner was out. And then I went to see The Full Monty, and Emily Skinner was out. Emily Skinner used to be known for missing a lot of performances. It happens. And Emily Skinner was in this show and didn't have very much to do. And she played Cher's mother, Georgia, and she also played Lucille Ball. Now, Lucille Ball, I didn't quite get why Lucille Ball was in this show. And I mean, I know that she offered Cher advice because as two strong businesswomen and who were going through, Lucille had divorced her husband Desi, and of course Cher was divorcing Sonny Bono. And so there was that, but it just seems strange that Lucille Ball was there singing a song with Cher, and it was a Cher song because everything in the show is a Cher song, of course. And what songs? She has amazing songs. It was all very well done. Wonderful singing. But it was just like the mother character would come in, do a one-liner, and leave. And it's like, I'm feeling like I'm not getting to know these people. On the surface, I was, but it just didn't feel like we were really getting in there. The way Jersey Boys, which Rick Ellis also wrote the book for, and I mean, it was like really got into the nitty-gritty and ran forever. And of course, the Cher Show will have played 34 previews and 296 regular performances, according to this. Now I'm confused because there was that blackout a few weeks ago in New York City, which canceled one of the performances. So I'm like, was this written before that? Anyway, that's how many they played. And there is going to be a touring production that starts in October of 2020. I think it's starting in Rochester, New York. So do go and see the tour. I'm hoping they make some tweaks to some of the things. Now, here's the amazing book. We did wait afterwards and get some people to sign. I really wanted to see Stephanie J. Block. She didn't come out. And I wanted to see Michael Fatica because I follow him on Instagram, and I was obsessed with the Groundhog Day, the musical, which he was in. And he came out, but he was talking to friends, and I don't like I've said, I don't like to bother people when they're talking with their friends. But I do think if you're in a show and you can do the line and sign the people's programs, you should. And everyone brought their little silver markers. I also wanted to see Michael Buress, who was playing Bob Mackey, and he didn't come out. It was like, where was everybody? Did they take the tunnels out of the theater? Are they hiding until everybody's gone? I don't know. You know, Michael Buress directed Title of Show, and he was in a chorus line, and he's been around for a while, and is wonderful. And he was terrific. He played Bob Mackey. He played Robert Altman. Everybody was so good in this show. I don't want it to seem like I didn't like it. I loved it. It was like a big party. And you do leave happy, and you do leave with all those great Cher songs in your head, like Gypsies, Tramps and Thieves. This isn't my Cher doll. This is Felicia. But she has that same hairdo, sort of, that Cher had when she had the mohawk thing on her. Now, Bob Mackey also, not only did Stephanie J. Block win the Tony, but Bob Mackey won for costumes, and rightfully so. There are like a million costume changes. Here's that other, I have a poster of this, but I don't have it hanging, but it looks just like this with the 3 Cher outfits and Babe, Star, and Lady. To me, it felt like I know that one Cher was like in her 20s and one is in her 30s, and then one is probably Cher in her 40s, or, you know. So, it felt like the 2 younger ones were so similar in age and experience that it was like, why are these 2 Chers giving advice to the younger Cher? It felt like there should only be 2 Chers, really. But, you know, through the magic number of 3. Now, the book has great pictures in it, but one of my complaints about these programs is when you do a full page, I mean, every page is a full page picture. By the end of the book, you feel like you didn't get a lot. And here are those wonderful little Sonny and Cher symbols. And the actor playing Sonny was very good. Was it Jared Spector plays Sonny Bono. Like I said, look at those costumes. They're gorgeous. The lighting, gorgeous. Everything about the show. Look, here's Michael Buress. His Bob Mackey was very funny. They go through several Cher relationships. Greg Allman. They do the Rob Camilletti period. And they're like, I found someone, and do you believe in life after life after life? I obviously don't know all the lyrics to Cher's song, sorry. And I love Cher. She's an inspiration to us all. But yeah, the Cher Show was not my favorite show in the world, but it's a very well done show, and I do think if you're in the New York area, you should go and see it when it closes August 18th. Before it closes August 18th. And also closing on August 18th is King Kong, which I would have loved to have seen while I was in New York, but I only saw 4 shows in just a couple of days, and or 3 days, and I can't see everything. And King Kong is closing without a cast album announced. Oh, the guy that did the music for King Kong, Eddie Perfect, I believe, also did Beetlejuice. And I loved Beetlejuice. We'll talk about that in the coming, couple of weeks. But I had to do my Cher Show review before Cher Show closes. And you know what a big fan of Cher I am. I even have the Moonstruck poster hanging in the kitchen. My roommate and I, we watch Moonstruck all the time. So I'm a very big fan of Cher, but not as much of the Cher Show. But get the cast recording, listen to it, because they have a lot of the dialogue on the cast recording. That's when I first heard that, I was like, I don't know. But everybody I know, Gussie, Kippy saw it. They loved it. Waller from work saw it. But Jameson did not love the Cher Show. In fact, he hated it. I didn't hate it. I liked it, but with some reservations. Anyway, but this sounds terrible. It sounds like I'm giving it a mixed review, and it is mixed. But it is a party. You will leave loving Cher even more. You won't leave knowing Cher a lot better, or her what she's thinking, her inner life. But you will love that music, and the dancing is amazing. Bravo to everybody. So go see the show. Go see it when it starts touring at the end of 2020, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye.